Hey, what's up, YouTube? Sam here. Doing this challenge another week. This speaking on something very motivational, something kind of deep, and let's get into it. Now, there's a saying that says, "Keep your friends close and your enemies closer." Now, that doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make any sense. We always want to keep our friends close, but keeping our friends close, it could be the end of us. It could kill us. And I know that sounds really dumb, and I know it will sound really dumb on the surface. What? Like, come on. Like, the mind thinks it doesn't make any sense to keep your enemies close to you and keep your friends, farther away. Because keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. Now, it doesn't make sense. What if I told you I had an enemy and you saw me hanging out with them the next day? Now, you'd think I was crazy because we're known as enemies. But the thing is this, it's the same way as like no pain, no gain. The same principle can be applied to this. When you go with your enemies, when you stay close to them, you challenge yourself. You challenge everything, your whole ego, everything that you believe or everything that you believe is wrong with somebody, and you go to that person and you hang out with them, you start to soften up. You start to lower that wall of hate, or that wall of ignorance, or that wall of your perspective, and you start to see their perspective. You become more empathetic, and not only do you become more empathetic, but you become more empathetic to the worst person that you know, because the enemy is a strong word. It's a person that's contrary to you. It's not just saying like somebody you don't like or anything. Enemy, that's like somebody that you're bumping into, and that's why you keep your enemies closer, because you can learn a lot from them. And if you can overcome your enemy, you can overcome anything. And that's the thing. A lot of people, they die. And I don't mean literally. I mean proverbially. The proverbial death. You don't really die, of course. But you get old and you don't really challenge yourself. You hang out with people like-minded and you get into something called groupthink, where you guys, one person says something, you're like, yeah, we all agree. And what happens? You end up in a clan, like some sort of a cult. You're in a cult. One person's like, yeah, let's do this. You look at Charles Manson. He would get people to do something with him called mirroring. People that were like-minded like him. And that's the thing. We all have our perspectives, and we all want to get with people with our perspectives. But the thing is, we need to get with people who challenge us, people who think the exact opposite of us, and people who annoy us and make us want to smack them and make us want to rip our hair out, people that make us lose our hair. We need to hang out with those people. We need to find them, and we need to see them as a blessing. We need to go and we need to hang out with them, and because ultimately they're going to challenge us. And I think my greatest growth has always been with people who challenge me, people who get me mad. And I'll be going back the next day and I'll be like, I go home and I study. I'm like, I'm going to become a better person. And it was because of that person, rather than my friend who won't challenge me at all. He's going to be telling me, oh yeah, you look good today, even though I don't look good. When the other person's just staring at the blemish you have. They're like, yeah, that guy has that blemish. Yeah, that's good. And you're like, what? Oh, thank you. My friend didn't tell me. So that's the thing about it. We really got to start hanging out with people who challenge us and our enemies. And we got to grow, and we got to understand, because the thing is, we are our greatest enemy. And when we can get out of our own comfort zone, when we can get out of our own skin and see what's wrong with us, and from their perspective, we've conquered it all. And I'm not saying literally, but I'm saying like that's the hardest thing to do. And that's the thing with today. Nobody's talking to each other. Everybody's speaking at each other. Everybody's speaking and nobody's listening. So then what happens is that voices just bounce off each other and nobody hears anything. And nobody gets anywhere, because it's a reciprocity process. Somebody hears and they're like, yeah, I hear you, but I have this point. Instead, people are just like, blah, blah, blah. And that's the thing about debates. Debates hardly get anywhere because you stick to your point and you stick on it and you defend it with your life. I like those exercises where you stick on somebody else's point and you defend that and you learn something. It's burning you inside and you're like, oh, like, because I had to do something. I had to read something on Karl Marx, and I don't like that guy. I don't like his ideology. But as I was reading it, I was like, okay, he was incredibly extreme, but I get what he's saying. this guy he could trick a lot of dumb people, but now I understand his point of view and I understand what he's doing. Instead of me with my superficial understanding of what he's taught, now I really know what he taught, and now I could even challenge it, or I could even ask him, what were you thinking when you wrote that? Were you serious? I could talk to him seriously now, instead of just being like yelling at him like, what are you thinking, man? From my own perspective. Because when you do that, when you talk to your enemy, when you like associate with them, when you start to like dialogue with them, it's no longer you, but now you've stepped into their area and their space. And that's such a beautiful thing, because I like to think of it like this. There's a video, and stick with me here, sorry. There's a movie, a Batman movie, and this is so crazy, where Batman, the whole city is going evil and they're becoming vampires and stuff. And Batman's the only good guy, and because there's a doctor who gives him the shot that makes him immune to something. And the whole movie, Batman, it's an animated movie of Batman, but the whole movie long, Batman's trying to, he doesn't kill anybody, but he's trying to make everybody good like him. And he's giving everybody this vaccine, blowing up this vaccine or whatever, what is it, smoke bombs that make people like him. And at the end, he lets somebody inject him because he has faith that he's the one with the messed up, that has that it's like a zombie and that's diseased. And that's the crazy thing. That's so crazy. Sometimes we're the ones who are wrong, and we never get over it because we defend our wrongness so much, and we've defended it to the death, and because we become friends with it. And that's the thing, we got to learn to jump out of our perspective. And that's the hardest thing to do, and that's the thing that we're challenged with the most. These things that we grew up with all our lives, challenging them and going, you know, really putting yourself in other people's shoes, your enemy's shoes, and being like, you know what, is this really right, you know? And I love that show, that movie on Batman, because Batman thought he was right all along, and he almost killed all these people, or he almost made all these people zombies, but in reality, he was the one that was a zombie and everybody else was good. And the thing caused him to hallucinate, obviously. And in our lives, sometimes we're all out there trying to preach to the whole world, telling them, hey, you know, I got something here. I got something here. I got something here. But you're not listening to what they have to say. And they might actually have good points. And you're never going to get anywhere because you're not hearing them. And their points might actually make you grow better. So, and there's other videos that I've seen like that, or other movies where somebody's actually defected, but they're right there trying to defect other people. And those movies are just beautiful. There's another one with Brad Pitt where there's all these zombies, but the zombies don't go after the people who are dying. And it's kind of like an oxymoron, because, you know, to be dying, you actually have to live. So the thing is to be vulnerable and all that. So it's crazy, things that just don't make sense, how they actually work and they're actually good for you. Yeah, to be broken or to be off is actually right sometimes. And that's the thing that we need to learn how to do. We need to jump into the enemy's shoes, and we need to keep them close. And then there's a cool quote by by Sun Tzu, the warrior, and he said, to know yourself, you can win battles, but to know your enemy and yourself, you'll win any battle. Something like that. I'm obviously, I'm paraphrasing, but you gotta know yourself, but you gotta know your enemy. You gotta hang out with them. You gotta really hang out with them, and you gotta see what they're about and what their points are. Because that's the only way we're gonna grow, and that's the only way we're gonna get out of the ignorance. Because how can we tell somebody they're wrong when we never even stepped into their point of view? Yeah, we might be wrong. So, and that's the craziest thing, because we are our enemy and we're always with ourselves. And to even say that we're our own enemy is crazy. Like, I'm obviously, without me, I would be dead. But yeah, I'm not saying like in that sense, but I'm saying like I'm my own enemy, because sometimes I hinder myself from the greatest growths because I'm afraid to step out of who I am. My ego is just so big that I think I'm always right. So with that being said, step out of your comfort zone and go hang out with your enemies. Keep them close to you, because you guys might both save each other's lives. You might see their point of view, but they might see your point of view. And in that, two people just stop becoming ignorant. So That being said, like and subscribe. Take care. God bless. See you guys next week. Bye.